Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of Suave and Sassy Seniors with Sonia. Now, just in case this is your first time seeing this show, I want to give you a little introduction. This show is all about highlighting people in their senior years in life that's living their best life, that's done it right, who is successful, and they're leaving little nuggets along the way to help us as we age and help people that may already be seniors with some great ideas. Now, I am so excited because today's show is very special to me. Now, somebody out there saying, you say all your shows are special. You say all your shows are special. But this is very special because I've done many interviews, and a question that people ask me is, who are your mentors? And I always say people who like Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Eric Thomas is a big one. And even when I say those people, I always say Dr. Leroy Polite, because I've never met those other people, but I was fortunate enough over 27 years ago with my first dental hygiene job to be placed with the educator. Dr. Polite was the first place I ever worked, but he educated me on life, finances, and how to help raise my children. So I want to share him with you. And I hope that you can glean some of the wisdom that I was able to glean. I was able to work for him for over 10 years. And I was able to glean a lot from him. He propelled me into my entrepreneur journey. He propelled me into continuing my education. And I owe him so much. But he don't need nothing from me because he got way more than me. But I want to introduce him to you all, so maybe you can get some information from him. Let me go ahead and add him on, because I'm talking too much. I'm just rattling on. Hey, let me see if I can make you bigger. Hey, Doc.
Good morning. How are you and how is yours?
All is well. Welcome to our show, Doc. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. For myself at 76, almost 77, it's a pleasure to be anywhere.
Well, Doc, you getting around real good, man. You doing good, right?
Thank you. I really am. I really am. So much to be thankful for.
Now, Doc, I was telling everyone how you was just the biggest mentor in my life. I started working for you. I think I was 21 or 22 years old, and the golden nuggets that you poured in my life. But see, I can't be selfish. Everyone that sat in your chair. Now, listen, I'm talking to the hygienist right here. He poured into. Now, imagine me waiting on an exam, and I got 5 people in the waiting room waiting on me, and he's talking to a student. He gonna take his time, tell them what the classes they need to take. He poured into everyone, especially young people that sat in his chair. Doc, tell us your journey. Why? Just talk to us, Doc.
I guess being that my mother was the oldest of 9 and my father was a rock. He wasn't the oldest child out of 13, but my aunt always said that he was the most like Papa of all of the children. And so it's something that I got, like you used the word glean, but that's what I got from both parents. And being the oldest child, it was my responsibility to look out for the others. So I did, and I had to set an example. And God had blessed me to finish pharmacy school. And I can't say I got an academic scholarship, but I had to work. So I learned how to work hard. And then I taught myself how to study. And that's what I try to pass on to others. In America, you can't do anything ignorant. You cannot do anything in America ignorant. So you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself. And it's no one's fault. Something, please forgive me for rambling. Like you say the same thing. They have bars on jails. They don't have bars on schools.
Wait a minute, Doc. You can't leave that right there. That's phenomenal. Repeat that in our hearing. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, there are bars on jails. So you're not supposed to get out. But they're not bars on schools. You need to be there. And you don't need to have a lot of excuses why I can't do this, I can't do that. And then something else that I've learned along the road of life is working together with others. If I can help you to get to a level, then you and I on the same level. then we can attack a problem. But if you're not on my level, it's mostly me doing the bulk of the work. So it's my responsibility to get you where I am so that we can do it. Then the two of us raise two others, then it's four, and that's the village that they talk about.
Absolutely. Doc, now listen. So you said that I just, this is so important. And then I want to talk about the financial part that you poured into me, because you was talking about stock market and bull and all that back then, and real estate. You got me into real estate because you was like, real estate is real money that you could put your hands on. But I just want to, for our young mothers, for our millennials on here who have kids at home, and this really gets to my heart because I see a lot of young people saying they're giving their children the choices of education and choices. My daughter doesn't feel like it, or my child doesn't want to, and they have an option. Doc, speak to that for me.
Well, again, you go to God's word, the 5 talents, the 2 talents, and the 1 talent. And the one with the 5 talents turned it into 10. The one with the 2 talents turned it into 4. But if you permit your child to bury their one piece of gold, it never grows. So you have a responsibility. It's not fair to your child to permit your child to make an adult decision.
Whoa, it's not fair to your child to allow your child to make an adult
decision. A life, children make decisions to go rob something at 18, but it impacts them until they're 68. So you need guidance. Child needs guidance. And then this is something else. Two parents. And I know of a case like this where a good friend of mine, he talked about his father drunk liquor, did this and that and the other, but his father was there with that family. It was 7 children, and I think maybe 4 of the 7 graduated from college, but they had 2 parents. It is so important to try to implement the thought. See, ladies see things one way, men see it another way, but together the word is called parents pair. It's a pair. So it really does help. I mean, if you can incorporate both parents, but the value of an education, just like you're in science, I'm in science. Everybody can't be in science, but I tell people this. I learned it as a child: rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. You choose to be one of those.
Be one of those.
Yeah, you let somebody else. All of 3 of those are leaders. The doctor, the lawyer, and the Indian chief. All of them are lawyers. So don't let your child decide, I don't want to do this. You explain to the child how much money they're going to earn. You explain to the child their prominence in society. You train your child to be a leader. That's your responsibility as a parent. And again, what I'm told so much in this society is that the opportunities are not there, but that's why they have to unify. Unity, strength lies in number.
That's it, Doc. That's it. Now, thank you for the advice on parenting. Please write that nugget down because that was amazing. Doc, you shared so many nuggets with me, and I'm going to put it here, then I'm going to pivot to the next subject. One thing that really helped all of my children, and I heard you tell it over and over again, and you told me, you said, Sonia, do not put your kids in standardized classes.
Never.
Make them take advanced classes, even if they struggle or get a C.
Sure.
Doc, 2 of my kids graduated. One of my sons graduated with an associate's degree, which made him, when he got to college, it was less money, and he already had a scholarship. And my other child had a lot of college credits toward that, and they all took advanced classes, and they're all successful in life. Every formula is different, but you can't go wrong with educating or even a trade skill, a trade school. But some secondary education is important to succeed in this economy. Doctor, do you want to say something on that before we go to the finances?
Yes. What's funny about what you just said is I got some family members who dropped out of college, and I was in the house when the truant officer came to try to get him to go to school. He was 16 years old. I was in the house when I was 18 getting ready to go to college, and he was 16, needed to go to I don't know, 11, I think he was 11th grade. That kid cursed the truant officer out, told him to get his so and so and so out of that house. He wasn't going to school. He was 16 at the time. Well, many years later, when he would write on an application, he would write some college.
What is some college?
You know, he may have gone and dropped out, but he was lying because he realized later in life the value of some college, but he had never finished high school.
Oh, wow. Bless his heart. Now, Doc, thank you for sharing. Now, Doc, a lot of people are wondering is what's everything going on about financing in there. Like I said, you poured into me about real estate. We got into real estate. You encouraged me to continue my education, and I did. And I'm so happy that I was pushed there. You the only one that ever encouraged me to continue. Because once I became hygienist, I thought I made it. I was making good money, but you encouraged me. You pushed me. You pushed me. It was a hard push, and but I'm so glad that it, because success. Now people are not going to agree with this, but success hurts. It's not easy. It hurts sometimes when you're being pushed. So sometimes it's not comfortable. But Doc, I want to ask you about financing because you encouraged me about investing in real estate and different things. So what would you encourage people to do now?
Read about how others became rich. How others became rich. The first book that I read, and I told The Richest Man in Babylon, it teaches you how the poorest person in the land becomes the richest person in the land. The poorest person becomes the richest. It starts with saving 10%. So a friend of mine told me last night, his son has a degree, but he's from job to job to job to job to job. And so his son said he doesn't make enough to save anything. Well, you cannot afford to not save, because if that's the case, you're going to be broke your entire life. I mean, that's the young man has said a cookbook to failure. Lifelong failure. So then we're talking about either a young man saying that he's making good money. That's good money being selfish, like I heard you say the word earlier, but give him a wife and give him a child, and that good money is poor money.
There's no money just about.
That's right. So you need to have a foundation. Then when there's an old song with Molly and me and Baby Makes Three. So you got a family. So the husband, the wife need to have a habit of saving. They have to save. My father made tips working on the railroad. My mother saved enough tips, and that was changed 70 years ago to make the down payment on a home.
My Lord, that's amazing.
Yeah. So save. Just you have to save, because it's a lifelong battle with poverty, because you never draw a line in the sand and say, I'm going to get out of poverty. And so I guess that's what I did. What else helped me for being around other successful people? I worked in Atlanta, Georgia, and I saw rich Atlanta blacks. And so my mother taught me, if they can do it, you can do it. If they could do it, you could do it. You were around me, and I'm not saying I'm rich or anything, but you saw my successes.
Yes,
so
sir.
You just duplicate it. You just do it. And so but now getting into real estate is called real. It's not called counterfeit, not called fake. It's called real. So you buy something and you manage it properly, and then you get a second and a third. You know, I tell people that's involved in real estate, if you buy a house every year from age 25 to 50, you own 50 houses. 25 houses. If you turn that in, my wife and I, we just purchased a Walgreens in Covington, Kentucky. And we sold one piece of real estate. It's called a 1031 IRS 1031 exchange. And we sold one piece of real estate, did not spend the money, invested money in another piece of real estate, so you avoid taxes. We have been blessed to do the same thing Donald Trump did. It worked. The system worked for everybody, but you got to get in the game.
That's it. Get in the game. And what you always said, Read. You said it just a little while ago. Read and educate yourself. Read, study. Read and study. Just don't jump. Read. Take his word, but read it. Read about it. Study it. And that's so important, right, Doc?
I agree wholeheartedly. And then on top of that, whatever you read and study, this is something that I've learned as I've gone along the road of life. This is why I'm always trying to find someone to converse with, because I've got a view, you got a view. Let's put them together and see what we both think. Because I might be at a different level than you, but that don't mean you can't help me.
I like that. That's wisdom.
Yeah.
That's wisdom.
But some people it's called piety when people think that they are so big or so full of themselves, or their degrees are so long with all these, that they can't listen to anything. They can't listen to anything or anybody. So they get in a vicious cycle and they can never get out, just running their tail, and they never know why.
Wow. Now, Doc, we've talked about children. We've talked about money. Now, one more thing I want to chat about.
Please.
Marriage. Now, I've been in the office, and now any dental professionals on here listening, I was in the office when the dentist's wife worked there. She wasn't a dental professional. I think she was a nurse. But she was in the office, registered nurse, RN. But in the office with Dr. Polite and Mrs. Polite, I've never seen nothing but professionalism and integrity and loyalty to each other. And I've worked in several dental offices after that, and you don't see that a lot. Dr. Polite has had one wife all the years I've known him, and I think it's now
55 years.
They've been married 55 years. So, Doc, can you glean on that about successful marriages? Because I believe I cleaned your dad's teeth, and I met your mom, and they live around the block from the school that my kids used to go to. And then when your dad transitioned, your mother used to stand at the gate and talk to the kids and went to the school. And I believe that where they were married until they both passed.
Yeah, they were married from age like 21, same thing like us, until he died. They're married close to 60 years.
So give us some pointers on Doc, because nowadays marriage is so different and people, it's just different. So just wisdom, 55 years. Nobody can argue with that, because you have the track record to show it.
Well, what I would share again with young and old alike is that you put your spouse first. You put your spouse first. You help them till it hurt you.
Whoa, wait a minute. You can't drop stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, let me see. You said you help them till it hurts you. Now, let me tell you how you parallel with the Bible, because the Bible says a man should love his wife like Christ loved the church, and he died for the church. He went on and died. So how many men out there would die for their wife?
Yeah, you just have to. If you do that, that's proof that you love her.
Oh my gosh.
That's proof you love her. And it's just as you go along the road of life in a marriage, the love, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's just there, and it speaks, it screams for itself. So again, and you can accumulate so many things. And then this is what I talk about this all the time. This is very important. Parenting again. My wife's father paid her 25 cents a day or 25 cents a week to watch the Paperboy, because he read the newspaper. I've read the newspaper already today, and he never wanted to miss the newspaper. So he paid my wife $25 cents a week to watch the Paper Man. So she diligently, a hawk watched the chicken, making sure he never missed that paper. If he did, she reported it to her daddy. So let's go to St. Matthew's, I think 25th chapter, about 28th, 29th verse or something, again about the talents of gold. When you take care of the 5, you turn them to 10. And that's what she did. And then the master said, I entrusted small things to you, so I want you to enter into my kingdom so you can be over great things. So what she learned with those 25 cents watching that man, that's why I always entrusted to her to watch. She took care of all the money. When I was in there, at least a couple of times, the people came to turn the lights out. She said, "You got money?" I said, "Yeah, I got plenty of money." "Well, why are the people turning out the lights?" I forgot to pay the light bill. Thousands of dollars in the bank. I forgot to pay the light bill. Happened more than once. Luckily, the man that cut the lights out grew up in our neighborhood. So he would come at noon. He said, "Doc, I came to cut out your lights, but if you go down there and pay between 12 and 1, then I'll work the rest of the schedule. And when I come back late this evening, your light bill will be paid and I don't have to turn out your lights." That's why it's always good to be, nice to other people, because you don't know when you're going to need a favor.
That's amazing.
You never know who you're going to need.
You never know who, and Doc, and that's true. And I do remember Miss Helen handled everything in the office. And
every dime.
She knew about them paper clips, them stamps. Listen, I wanted to order some special gloves. I had to get a note from my doctor to say that I needed them special gloves. But it's not that she was nitpicking, but she was a wise steward over what you had.
Exactly.
Be faithful over the small things, and God bless you with the rest. Don't take stuff for granted. And that was so much wisdom that you leaked on that. But now we talked about the education, the finances, the marriage. But from all of that becomes what your bosom looks like, and that is your grandchildren and your children, and how blessed they are. And could you just share in closing, that how that your children are dentists and how your grandchildren are doing? Because let me tell you, I went to the doctor, and he was doing an EKG and doing some work on me, just a regular physical. But when I was leaving out, and I don't want to offend anybody, I know I have all type of people on this call, but this is personal. On the wall, the man had all of his children. He had 8 sons, and all of them were physicians. They were all in white coats. Now they were white people, and it made my heart happy to see that. But I said, I've never seen that in African American families. But Doc, your bosom is blessed like that. Talk to me and tell me about your grandchildren.
As you said, both daughters finished in pharmacy and dentistry like me. My wife's a registered nurse. My son finished, he's got a BS degree in science and a master's degree in public policy. And he's a business owner. Both son-in-laws are dentists. But the grandchildren, one finished.
Why are you smiling better when you said grandchildren? There's something about the grandchildren.
Yeah, I just smiled at them, because one finished in a class at a university. The top at the university, #1 student at the entire university.
Wow.
The other is in a master's program to go to medical school, get a master's in another year and start medical school. The third one is going to the college that his father did, North Carolina Central. His father was majored in chemistry, and the son is going to follow in the footsteps. And their second child, first daughter, is a straight A student, and it just makes you feel good. But something that we taught the children, I taught their mother, and I may have told you all this. I learned it myself taking inorganic pharmaceutical chemistry. Doesn't that sound hard? Inorganic pharmaceutical chemistry. And it was nothing but organic rings. And so what I did, and I taught my children, and I was in the 3rd generation. Read it, write it. Read it, write it. Read it, write it. If you can't write it, you don't know it.
Wow.
If you can't write it, you don't know it. So don't fool yourself. You sit up in front of a computer and think that you know something. If you know it, write it. If you can't write it, you don't know it. That's how you attack difficult subject matters. You get a ream of paper, that much paper, and just write. Something else about difficult subject matter. I taught my youngest daughter, who wound up graduating. She finished pharmacy, finished dentistry. She finished pediatric dentistry, and she taught at a dental school. She would make exams for herself. She would make exams for herself while she's writing ask yourself this question, that question, this question, that question. If you have 5 chapters, you know everything about all 5 chapters. Don't take any chapter for granted. But she got to a point, she got so good at making up tests till she could make up 60 or 70% of the tests the teacher gave.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is so that picture is like the one I seen in that doctor's office wall, but it goes to the 3rd generation.
It does.
And Doc, something that you told me, and I know that you live by it because you told me that, and I use it with my children, and it trickled down. And this is where you and Mrs. Helen has made the biggest impact at the dinner table.
Yes.
So you can close on that with us because you put so many nuggets out on every topic of life. If you all want to know the key to success, this man can tell you a lot of things. So could you tell us about family at the dinner table, and we'll close on that.
Something that we did when I was growing up, we would have television on with the news. We watch the news every day. So I still watch the news every day. We watch the news, but we ate dinner together. You know, in this current generation, everybody eat when everybody wants to eat, you know, but we always ate together. We ate dinner together. So you ask, what did you do in school today? You can't say nothing. If you went, you know, and the family, we have the family discussion about all kinds of things, but you look at an accumulation of 18 years of this until they leave home. And it's just a subtle, silent indoctrination. A subtle, silent indoctrination where the parent is selling their program to their child. And the child, you're selling what you believe in as a parent.
That is amazing. And that's the biggest belief your child need to have, what you want them to believe in. They're going to receive stuff from the streets. They're going to receive it from the internet. But if they can believe what you hear, and when you're at the table, don't have the phone there, you know, don't have the phone. That's something that my husband and I practice. We be out eating dinner and we see a husband and wife at the dinner table out at a restaurant, and they're both on their phones. And my husband like, why are they here? You know, you're both on your phones and waiting on the food to come. Then when the food comes, you put the phone down and you eat, then you leave. But what was the interaction? So, Doc, that is so key. You know, just to spend that time, talk to your kids, ask them. And they shouldn't say nothing with what they was doing in school. But those were keys. Dr. Mike, thank you for being on our show. Thank you for gleaming us with so many golden nuggets to life and to success. And to my audience, this is what I heard every day for about 10 years. If he wasn't saying it to us, if he wasn't saying it in the morning huddles, he was saying it to a patient in our chairs. And we heard it over and over again. And that's something that I didn't have growing up. I didn't have that. So I was blessed beyond measure. I know I wouldn't be, and I want to tell you publicly, I wouldn't be who I am and where I am today if it wasn't for me working for you. And I appreciate that. And I thank you for that. And I thank God for allowing me to be put in that area, because you could have had any hygienist and you could have had any, I could have had any dentist, but God allowed it to be you. And I thank you for that, sir.
May I add one last thing before we close?
Please.
There's a young lady named Miss Dr. Eris Hannah. She's graduating from the Harry Dunn School tomorrow. Well, I don't know if you ever met Eris, but she came to us in high school and she asked if she could shadow the doctor. That's a new word that I had to learn. But we gave her a white coat, put a name on it, and she would spend time in the office. That's when she was in high school. So she went on off to college, and every summer she would come to us. She would get a white coat and she would shadow, and then she would work. She met someone, I think, in the Orlando area. She went to college in the Orlando area. So she would spend time either in a Jacksonville office or Orlando office. We had offices throughout the state of Florida. So then she went on off to dental school, and in dental school, she would come and spend time every summer. But I reached out to her this week, and she's graduating. She's taking a beautiful picture, and I'm just so proud of that young lady have followed in the footsteps. So it's just a blessing to reach out and help others, because when you do that, God helps you. Something else, the last thing, when I tell people if I take care of my wife, God takes care of me. I'm a cancer survivor for 25 years, and I've been without a bladder for 24 years. And so if I look out for her, God looks out for me. You have to have God in your life.
Wow, Doc. And that's phenomenal. Success leaves clues. And you've left so many clues in everyone's life. And
Yeah,
that's the note to end on. You got to have God in your life.
you
Thank you,
do.
Dr. Polite. Thank you,
Thank you.
audience, for listening.